ATWAP. ATWAP. Madam MC.
Madam, you're in the spirit.
You own this slogan. And you said we should call it along with you. Now I'm asking, it's like they didn't want to answer me. ATWAP.
Live.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning once again. I'd like to appreciate my indefatigable state coordinator giving me this opportunity, and also the ATWAP chairman, the able chairman indeed. We have been seeing his work, and the relationship is, there with the office. I'm blessed Alamin here this morning to discuss with us on this topic, NAFDAC expectation and requirements for intending and existing water producers. Yes, I want to believe we are, let me say, either existing water producers or intending. If you're an intending water producer, can I see your hand up? Maybe you are intending, you have a friend and you want to go into the business and you've been relating with your friend. How am I going to go about it? And today you have been invited to partake. Can I see your hand up? Is there anyone? A man is there. All right. It's a good one. So what we are going to discuss this morning are things you've heard about. But because, just like the chairman said, that they don't want the sledgehammer, and that, the economy is hard now. So even we too, like my state coordinator said, that we don't like to throw the hammer. That's why we are here to tell you again, like a refresher course to you, to remind you of the standard, and for the intending ones to know what are those expectations of NAFDAC when you want to go into the business, and for the existing producers, what are these sacrosanct for you to do. And that takes us to the scope. We'll be talking about the regulatory requirements, the documentation, and where the sledgehammer comes in, which, if you try to do the right thing, you may not fall into that trap. Now, regulatory requirements. This is hinged on the minimum GMP requirement for personnel. Please, what is GMP? GMP, Madam Tibel. Good manufacturing practice. Yes, is a common term that we use. Requirement for personnel, material, machine, and environment for the production of potable water. When we talk about our regulatory requirements, how do I go about it? What is NAFDAC specification? All right, about the personnel. At times we tell you that when you come for inquiries and we say, you need a production manager, who is the key officer, and it must be of so requirements, a science-based. So we talk about the personnel and the materials, machines. What are the materials you use in producing water? The raw water is a borehole. You talk about your packaging materials, the sterility of your materials, the machine. Your production machine must meet the intended use. If you say your machine is there to produce sachet water or bottled water, it should work, maximally and for the intended purpose, to package your water, the kappa, the filling, you understand? So the environment, the hygiene, the layout, we don't approve factories anywhere. And that is why most times we encourage you to seek for advisory inspection, because if you do that, we'll be able to pilot you from the beginning, do this, do that, break here, put door here, you don't use here like this, use here, so that when we come for the production inspection, it's just going to be a walkthrough. But if you just feel that you know it all and you just put something on ground, you now invite us for inspection. When we get there at times, so production inspection have led to advisory. We now begin to tell you, don't put window here, seal up this door, and begin to rearrange it for you. So of course it's going to delay your work because the love letter will be issued to you, and until you comply, that is when you can proceed. All right, among the regulatory requirements for registration, the personnel tend to drive the machine, material, and environment to achieve production. Many of us, when we say your production manager must be on ground and it must be a science-based, you just feel that you look at your own comfort alone and say, we can't pay them, we can't keep them, a science person, a graduate. But those are the people that can actually man your production based on the experience they have in school. That is the belief. A science person will know the advantage and disadvantages of a leakage on your production line. That this thing will actually pose threat of contamination to the products. So we don't allow you to tell us it's the operator that is not even up to an O level, that is the production manager. If he does do things, his own focus is to operate the machine. Okay, press the machine, is cutting water. What about the integrity of the water? The quality. We're after quality, not only the output. You just want to send something to the market. What is the quality of the product you're sending to the water is of our interest too. All right. The qualified person must have science-based background that is relevant to water treatment. I've said that. And what are those disciplines? Science-based. We know them. Like food science, microbiology, chemistry, biochemistry, any science-related course, at least ND. If you have BSc, fine. I've got into a place, they said, the production manager said he is a master's degree holder. And I'm like, wow, are you sure you'll be here for this job or you were hired? And that is why the agency have said list of ND in a science course. So now that requires minimum of ND is there. Among personnel, there must be clear-cut allocation of responsibilities. Okay, who is responsible to carry out these tasks? For example, your cleaner. You won't tell us that you are the MD, you are the production manager, you are the cleaner, you are the operator. It's not acceptable. You cannot be jack of everything. So your production manager should be in charge of your production. He should be on ground. Who is responsible for cleaning? If you as the MD is entering your factory today and you touch the head of your sealing machine, it's dusty, who are you going to hold accountable? Of course, you can still call the production manager. Then he too is going to chastise the cleaner. So those tasks must be assigned to individuals. People should take responsibility of their actions and inactions. All right, we move. Materials like the filters, UVS sterilizers, proper piping system. I like to talk about these aspects. There are a lot of things that we encounter when we come for our routine check, and even renewals. When we ask some of those production managers, this filter is dirty, how long do you change them? You see, this one we say once in a month. You might say it once in 2 weeks. No, that could be the experience or what he or she knows. But what is the practical that happens? What is the practicality of it that happens in your own factory? Your water is different from the water of somewhere else. It could be that where it's coming from, this filter can actually stay that long and it will not get dirty. It does not mean that is how it happens everywhere. So the most important thing as part of your quality check is to check your filters every day. If you put it on Monday, tomorrow is dirty, you change it. Next tomorrow is dirty, then you change it. You don't say it's not up to 2 weeks, it's not up to 1 week. It's part of those lapses that we consider that can earn you the big stick. Then UV sterilizer. The UV bulb in your packaging material store, you know what it does. Most of you, during your renewals, they are no more functional. And one of the reasons for renewal is to check, do you still meet up to standard? The standard at which we register your product initially. We want to know if you still build up on it. We expect it to get better and not to go bad. So also proper piping system. You could remember sometimes back, we will check if you have under drain in your PVC tanks. What's the essence of that? To ensure that all the dirty water flows off, nothing is retained. Piping system. Then along your production line, you need to ensure proper piping system. Towards the UV water sterilizer, there is a way you position it that all the water will drain off. There is a way someone positions it that you will know that the dirty water will still be retained. So please, you have to take note of that. All right, let's move. Installation. It still boils down to your piping. The building on which the factory is to be located must have a layout such that cross-contamination is avoided and unidirectional flow is enhanced. Unidirectional flow. If we have ever visited your factory, you know what we mean by that. The minimum number of rooms, as you know, is 4. Your cloak room, production room, packaging material store, finished product store. And we used to tell you that it must meet up the unidirectional flow system, a closed cycle system, well arranged, such that from the entrance, the first room should be your cloak room. According to the tax, according to the activities you carry out in the factory, you enter the cloak room, you clock, drop your materials, the cloaking, your luggage that you came in, the production staff, put on the factory wares. As you are moving, you pick up the materials. That takes you to the packaging material store. You pick up the packaging materials, then from there you enter the production room. From production room, where you are done with the packaging of the water, you move to the last room, which is your finished product store. But most of you, when we come for inspection, everywhere is turned upside down. As you are entering, you are seeing the finished product room. And then you will tell us that your production room is inside the room. The parlor is finished product, and we are entering from there. So those are lapses that after inspection, we tell you, we are giving you a letter. You have to rearrange. If you have structural defects, we tell you you have to rearrange. And we have also seen a situation where for renewal, you will tell us there are factories that are all not up to your standard. This one is like this, that one is like this. It could be a very long or very old factory, and most of them now we are even giving them time to restructure. If need be, you relocate. So we have to, meet up with the current good manufacturing practice. All right, basically the factory premises should be well demarcated and fenced, well demarcated. If you are intending, please ensure that the facility you are going to use, there is provision for fencing to demarcate, to restrict unwanted interference. Preference is given to purposely built facilities, although it is allowed to convert structures to meet up NAFDAC requirements. You might have a place, a land that you build purposely for the water business. But we still also have some that want to convert a residential building to a water facility, please, you can still adapt it, but you still do some restructuring to meet up the NAFDAC requirements to achieve the unidirectional flow system. The factory must not be sited or located near a cemetery, abattoir, or any other. For example, you want to have a factory in a market or a shopping center. It's not allowed, it's not acceptable. Because if you build a factory in a marketplace, if we are coming for our routine visits, how possible for us to access the place? Is it possible for us to be able to access the place? If we want to sanction you, we are not sure if all these area boys will not, attack us. So it's absolutely not acceptable to have a factory in the market. Now, we talk about documentation. There's this checklist when you come to our office we give to you. And then you look at it and say, oh, this is cumbersome. I don't think I'll be able to do that. But it's not. It's just the right thing to do. Because anything not written is not done. We treat your document and push it forward for approval. And then that takes us to what I'm going to talk about this documentation. We revolve around that our checklist. If you want the service you want from NAFDAC, you write a letter applying for product registration. You have your CAC already. Do a letterhead paper and write a letter to the Director General and you, through the state coordinator of NAFDAC, Nassarawa. You do that. Then you have your CAC, you have your trademark registration with Corporate Affairs, Ministry of Trade and Investment, where they search for the product name and anyone that is approved. Some people will search for, quite a number of product name before it is approved. So it's very, very compulsory. After that, what do? We talk about SOPs, standard operating procedures. Those are one of the things that I say would discourage people during documentation. If you notice now, we may not collect your SOPs in the office because the agency is, trying to reduce the difficulties in prompt approval. So we see the SOP as your own internal document, but we can still vet it. We vet and check with what you have in your facility, your installation. Does the SOP really reflect what you have put on ground? If not, then we ask you to change this, change that. But in the office, we may not require it as compulsory to collect from you. Because our registration now, the first thing is for you to go online, which is our NAPAMS. And there are documents compulsory for you to upload there. Your application letter, CAC, trademark, medical fitness certificate, fumigation certificate, your product labels. So those are the compulsory documents for you to upload on NAPAMS. And so we say, okay, bring those ones. Then we file it. When we come for inspection, we are going to check every other document. So it's still compulsory for you to get those documents ready, even the ones we don't need in the office for now. When we get to the inspection ground, we are still going to check. We also help you in your day-to-day activities. As the managing director, you may not be there always, but your staff are on ground. It will help them. You make them to follow the standard operating procedure to carry out their task. So it's a global standard, not only in NAFDAC. So we are operating according to the global best practice. Yes? We've talked about, yes, the organogram of the factory, from the hierarchy, managing director to the list officer, to the list staff. Letter of appointment and acceptance of key officers. If you employ a staff, I'm sure it's not going to be verbal. You give out an application, offer of appointment, then you collect the acceptance of offer. All those things have to be documented, and the credentials of your production manager. That is where it comes in for you to know that is he a science-based person. Recently, we got to a place and he said he's a production manager and his experience. What is your qualification? He said business admin. Is he qualified? Business admin. Is he qualified? MC. So, please, let us comply to the requirements. Then, these are the SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Is a step-by-step document that describes how you carry out your task. So, write it according to what you do. Our own is to check, does it really conform with what you have explained to us during inspection? If not, you redo it. Yes, analysis of raw materials and finished products. For your product, your borehole and your sachet or bottled water, it is necessary that you know the status. You can, if you didn't have a lab, take it to public analysts. Let them check for you at least 2 times in a year. It helps you to know the quality of your product, both the raw water, the borehole, and the finished product. It helps a lot. You know, we may tell you in the office that it's not compulsory, but for you, I think it's compulsory to know your water composition. Then from there, the analyst can recommend either you need resin, you need RO, and we have also noticed that some of you will put up your installation without any means of treatment. No RO, no ozonator, and in your explanation, you wouldn't tell us if you dose with chlorine. Please, if you're doing that, it's a no-no, because it's as good as if you're pumping raw water, borehole water, to the masses. There must be a form of water treatment. And the least of them all is chlorination. But how many of us can actually dose adequately? You will say, my customer will complain that there is taste. Yes, because you did not know the adequate calculation for it. What is the quantity of the chlorine you're going to put? The calcium hypochlorite. What is the quantity? Many of us didn't know. So, you could go for ozonator, ozone generator. You buy it, and it helps to sterilize your water. If you have the money, you get a reverse osmosis machine. So please, try and, do the right thing, conform to the standard of NAFDAC. If you are an intending producer, have this at the back of your mind. Your water treatment is key. All right. Then we talk about your fumigation, the medical fitness of your staff. You should know. For if you say you are renewing your license, I'm an existing producer. Do I even need? You need it most. I've seen a situation whereby it's a renewal product. When she wanted to renew, so we said, okay, go and examine your staff. I said, do. Is it the staff you were using then? As they are the same set of staff you still have now? She said, no. So ideally, you need to know their medical status, like once in 6 months. And then she went. This particular guy started with them, and this is the 3rd renewal. Now, they discovered that the guy has HIV. So if she has not done that, how would he know? So please, it's very, very compulsory. You need to know the health status of your staff, either old or new. Then the survey, geological survey report of your borehole. Of course, if you have a borehole, if you're not using public means, before that borehole was dug, there is a geophysical report, and after digging, there is borehole completion report. You need to know the depth, and we need to see if the depth meet up with NAFDAC requirements too. And of course, you know, is 45 meters. That is the recommendation. If your borehole is not up to that, you are wrong. So, doing your NAPAMS registration, you know the payment is online. After you have filled those forms, you have followed the steps, it's going to give you the payment page. After payment, receipt is generated and your online form is generated. You print them, add it to those documents and bring to the office. That is the NAFDAC registration form. So for renewal, you have your expired license. Now we no longer give manual license, it's online. And we have seen people, this thing they still did not understand. They will still come to office and say, is my license ready? I have to check for someone. I said, see, your license has been sitting there waiting for you on NAPAMS to print. Since how many months? You are here asking us, please go to your NAPAMS. So please, if you are renewing your license now, from online, end to end, we are going to process it online. Our approvals are done online. Then the license will be released online. It's just for you to print and have it. So that's the basic requirement you need to get your NAFDAC registration number and to renew your product license. I think the next slide is the tariff and sanctions for violations. You know, for registration, it's plus or minus 90,000. For renewal, it's just about, with the bank charges, maybe 65,000. But if your license is late renewal, there is administrative charge for it, which is around 167,000. Then you now add the renewal fee again. But for now, I think there is a level of percentage reduction in that, 100 plus, then plus the renewal. Z plus or minus the renewal. So if you get online, you see, that is for late renewal. Then, at times we come for routine. I just want to brief us about those things that used to bring about this sledgehammer Chama was talking about. And production is ongoing, your production manager is not available. There is a sanction for each, which is not less than 300,000 naira. And then you begin to say, these boys, they don't used to stay, you employ them today, they are a fee, we cannot. Please, there is a fine for that. There is another sanction, maybe, which one? Poor GMP. According to NAFDAC tariff, you know, when we come for our unscheduled visit, which is a routine, and we discovered you have a poor GMP, you know those things we look out for, and we are telling you it's poor GMP. According to NAFDAC tariff, is 2 million naira. The fine for poor GMP. So for MSME products, it's 200,000. So when you come to the office and you begin to say this and that, okay, we just give you the least amount, the amount for MSME. So those charges we are giving you for poor GMP, 200,000, it means we are just using human face, using the rates for MSME, 200,000. If you have come to office and you beg Oga, beg, he did not reduce it, there is nothing you can do about it, because it's the specification. So let us do the right thing to avoid sanction, so that you not be spending your profits, the hard-earned money, to pay fine. All right. I think with this, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Blessings. Indeed, you have done justice to this presentation. We have learnt a lot. Let's give a resounding of applause for Madam Blessing once more. She has indeed enlightened us or reminded us again of some of the things we don't know, or we know but we take for granted. And from now henceforth, we will do the needful. Some of the things I learned is GMP. GMP. Did anyone get that in the congregation? Please, can we resound what does it mean, GMP?
Good manufacturing practice.
No, not the sanction of what it means, so that you avoid, you will totally run away from it. What does it mean? What does GMP mean?
Good manufacturing practice.
Good manufacturing practice. I thought we will hold that very, very there. Because the sanction is big, oh. Is it not big? It's huge, oh. In this era that production cost is skyrocketing, that you're managing to sell, you're even dragging those customers with your neighbor. You are trying to sell at 300, your neighbor is selling at 150. Then you come and go and buy one heavy sanction of 200,000. Will that business survive? Even if it does, you'll be sweating. By the time they find you that, you'll be sweating under your armpits. So GMP is good manufacturing practice. So it's very important for us to know what is standard, what is expected of us, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do, so to avoid any problems, because indeed they are costly problems. And like she has emphasized, that there is nothing Oga can do about it too. So don't live there saying that, oh, this man is wicked. He might not be wicked, or he's not wicked. He's trying to obey standard. He's trying to make you comply with standard. So that's that about GMP. So another thing is conform to standard. Conform to standard, though, so you don't put yourself in trouble. Avoid late renewal. Avoid late renewal. Please, what is the turnaround time for a renewal? Does anyone know? Supposing you renew this year, when are you supposed to renew again? 2 years, right? Is it 3 years? It's 2 years. So because most times people forget. And indeed, like I fondly joke with Madam Blessing sometimes, or when I go to the office, I say, which one now? This thing, just yesterday, I was here, now again, it's already due again. You know, when you're paying rent, you pay rent in January. Before you know, another January has come. So that's how it is. So it's not always palatable. But then, avoid it. It is 2 years, it is 2 years. You must go and do your renewal in time and on time. Do we know the fine for that if you fail to do when you're supposed to? How much is the fine for late renewal? You didn't hear her? Me, I opened my ears very well and tried to hear. Late renewal. She said it's 100 and something thousand. Am I correct, madam? 100 and something. But supposing you are just gallantly or gingerly renewing when you're supposed to renew, do you know how much you'll be paying? Or how much you'd have saved up for yourself? Save up the trouble, and then save up the trouble for your pocket too. How much is that if you're going to do a renewal, not fresh registration, I mean? Between 60 to 80,000? 65,000. So compare 65,000 now to, I think if you're paying the fine for that late renewal, it does not mean that you not pay the 65,000. No. You pay the 65,000, then you not pay the fine. That's a lot too. So please, let's save ourselves the trouble. Avoid late renewal entirely. Then I also learned, okay, poor GMP, we have already talked about that. So we'll do the needful and we'll do the best for ourselves and our businesses. Thank you. So we'll be moving quickly, like I said. We're going on to the second. Do we have it? We're going on to the second speaker for today. Thank you, and she's already upstanding. So let's give her the floor. Let's welcome her with a round of applause, please. Round of applause.